life. Et voilà, et voilà, et voilà, et voilà, et voilà, et voilà, et voilà.
Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so very much to join me today. I'm so really excited to have an amazing former Scientologist to interview tonight. When I say tonight, it's 10 p.m. in the UK. So thank you for joining. So first, I'm going to quickly do my housekeeping with you guys. We have a lot of people that I have never seen. I can't really say hello to everyone in particular like I normally do. And the chat is already going very fast. But for that, I have my lovely mods. I have Fluffer, Skrill UK, who is here. Irish is coming in soon. And probably Joe Bananas, who you know as well. So first thing in my chat, please, everyone has an opinion, everyone is entitled to one, and please do respect them. Secondly, I have checked the other day, about 60% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel, so please, it doesn't cost you a penny or a cent. Please subscribe and like my life. Thank you very much. And also, as you know, I always try to promote other channels that need a little bit of help. And today I am promoting. Oh, yeah, I was too fast. Today I'm promoting, and she's also my mod, Irish mod. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to her channel. She has started her channel when she went to protest in Copenhagen with Scientology up north, who you know, aka Miriam. So that would be lovely. She deserves it. She's great. Thank you very much. And last, Fluffer will be starring questions. So if you have any questions, so that I can check that later on, pardon me, please start your comment with question or comment, and then there will be start. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Fluffer. Okay, dokie. Let's start. And please, everyone, welcome my guest, Lara. We can't hear you.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Good. This looks cute. Good.
It's
We're all
lovely.
set.
Yeah. I thought this would be the best one to go with you. I don't have a yellow one. And I was gonna I have false nails that are a bit similar to my cap, but they are yellow. But I had an issue with the glue, so I decided against it.
It's cute. It's perfect. I actually was gonna do well. This is kind of tiger. You know, we got Foxy here.
Oh,
my new shirt.
I would love to show my dogs, but my dogs are so lazy, they're just sleeping.
Good for them.
They don't know what lovely life they have.
Or do they?
I don't know if they know.
They've been pampered and loved so well, they don't know what bad is. That's good.
Well, my bunny is gonna be, how old are you gonna be this year? She's gonna be 14 years this year.
Oh my goodness.
She's in an age now, she doesn't look 14 at all. She's at home she's very lazy. Outside she's like a Flashman, or Flash Gordon. And I'm like, is she really 14? But she's a very drama queen. She constantly whinges.
Yes.
Anyway,
She's her own VIP. She's her own diva.
yeah, she's the VIP in this
Aren't we
household.
all? I'm the VIP in my household. Actually, I guess Fox is. I mean, I guess they all are. At a certain point, they're like, they just take over my life. And they're like, I must need attention now.
Oh yeah, I have Bonnie, I have Baxter, and then I have my cat as well. And to be honest with you, we live in my cat's house. It's not the other way around.
That's
She
what I
runs
think.
the household.
I think they accept me cleaning and they like it. They're like, oh, good. There she goes again. You know, it's that kind of vibe. Like, oh, good, she's cleaning up our spot. Okay, I don't really like it there, but we'll see. You know, that's how they think when they
I have to
meow
say,
at me.
since I have Bonnie, I've never ever been able to go to the toilet on my own. This is something I don't know what it is.
Yep, it's a must. They must come in and check. They must.
Oh,
They
totally.
look, they do the little rub, and then they say, okay, and then they go. Kind of hang out outside the door.
Okay, so what did I want to say? Let's start. So for me, what is very important is actually for more former Scientologists in Europe to come forward, is to have more former Scientologists from the US who, like you and others that I have, that are not scared to speak up, to tell their stories, how it was in Scientology. Because we all can say it's a cult, but as long as we don't know what happens behind closed doors, people will say, I'm here to educate people as well. But if they say to me, yeah, but how do you know what happens behind closed doors? I say, well, I interviewed Lara, I interviewed this person and this person. And I think it's important that people start to hear your stories more and more, because otherwise it's never going to happen what we're trying to achieve.
Yes,
And
I agree. I think it doesn't matter if one person, we say this often, but even if a few people watch this that have never heard about Scientology or anything, then we've already told so many other people, because maybe our channel is small, but if somebody watches our channel, right, and then they go and that has an impact, or that reminded them of their brother who they can't get out of Scientology, and they now realize that they're in it, and they're in that Sea Org, they have a bigger impact because they were reached by an interview like this, to be able to do something more for the whole intention here to take
I
down.
always say, that I'm not very interested in the technical stuff, like, what bridge or whatever, I'm more interested in your real stories. That is what I'm going to make people listen and to
Yes.
say, oh, stop, what now? And that is important, especially these days, and if we know that there are more children still in there being abused, like most of you have been, then it's important that it's being told over and over again. So I'm going to stop talking because I know some people are going to complain.
Fuck
I
'em.
know you. You're
Welcome to my life.
You're second generation or third one?
I don't know. I don't even know. I barely know politics. Okay. Like, I can't even get it. I'm just learning X gen, second gen. But I guess in the Scientology thing, I think, I don't know. I really don't know. My second gen, my mother and father were the first ones to get into Scientology.
Okay, so you're second generation.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if, like, my sister had a kid all of a sudden, would now, I guess we would be second and then they would be third.
So
Or
if
is
your
it not
sister
about
has
the
a
kid?
child, if your sister has a child and she's still in Scientology, her child will be third generation.
Okay, and it didn't matter if my sister had two children, would they be fourth generation? No, it's
No,
still
they're
part of
both
this year,
children. Yeah,
this generation,
yeah,
or this time, I guess.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I I guess to make it clear to people watching, I was in the 1980s. I was born in 1986. So yes, I was definitely an 80s, 90s baby child in the internal organization, the C organization of Scientology. And my parents did come from Toronto, Canada. My mother and father met in Toronto, the organization, the Scientology organization in Toronto, Canada. And there they had their life a bit, a few years. They had my brother, who was the firstborn, and then my sister, and I was the youngest. And my sister, we're all, I guess, about 2 years apart. So my brother and sister must have been 4 and 2, around that, in Canada and Toronto, when my mom basically got orders from executive members inside the C organization in Los Angeles, to basically be transferred from, they call it transfer, or, you're being shipped, you're being sent, you're being ordered, missioned, you're being sent off, whatever it is, offloaded, who knows? You're being sent, basically, you're being ordered from above, from executives, from orders above you, from the gods. To go join the elite headquarters. And so obviously, now that I'm out of all this and I've learned about the tactics they use, there definitely was a whole plan and mission behind my mother and father leaving Toronto, Canada, and moving to America, because my mother had me in Hollywood in 1986 on Wilcox and Selma, which is a very in the middle of Hollywood location. Like, it's like, what the fuck were you doing? And why weren't you? So many people ask me this that are from America. They ask me, why were you not just born right down the street in the hospital? Because there's many hospitals in Hollywood. Private too. So that goes down along. So, well, there's a thing called Scientology. And then they're, oh my God, what? So yeah, the basically what I'm trying to get here is, you're going to hear a lot of stories of people that were born and raised. They were born into Scientology, or they were born into the C organization in Scientology, which basically means you had no life or way or allowing. There was no thought process allowed to you on your own that you come up with, and there was no creation and I mean thought process, meaning I'm going to pick this pen up, smoke it, and boom, put it, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't have that on our own. Everything would be, I have to get permission for, that sounds like a good idea, but let me get permission. It was always permission. Let me get approval. Let me see if that's okay. Let me check with my seniors. Let me check if that's okay. Things like this, just like, not really using, they were sent off or they were shipped off. No, they were ordered from a people above them to do something big and drastic and changed, like some big drastic change in their life. And it came from executive people at the time in the C organization, and in basically directly from David Miscavige. So yeah, I kind of went on a quick thing, long thing there, and I will do that because that's how my brain works. But
that's okay.
Yeah, I was born in the middle of Hollywood, 1986, in the Wilcox Hotel, in room 516 to be exact. For some reason, that's on my birth certificate. And I have visited there since then, so that was a really trippy experience.
So that hotel was owned by Scientology?
In 1986, it was where they staffed all the staff members that were at the Celebrity Center at that time. And the Celebrity Center was on La Brea Boulevard, where now it's on Bronson and closer to the middle sort of Hollywood, East Hollywood area. More on the in between Hollywood and where the Blue Building is. I always say the Blue Building, East Hollywood, because it's literally right there. My backyard is the Scientology building. So yeah, that kind of gives you, when people are going to hear the other stories, like myself and other kids say, we were trafficked, stop trafficking children, stop abusing children, children can't consent. These are all the things. My mother would have never had, I would have never been in Hollywood. I would never been born in America if it wasn't ordered by people in Scientology for my mother to leave Canada and come to Los Angeles. And that was the plan. And that's where I was getting to. A mother having a child, that's like, you plan that, you know? So there wasn't just, oh, whoops, plans changed last minute, 6 months pregnant. I guess we're just staying here. It was not like that. Although that's what I thought, you know, somehow that's what I had grown up thinking, like, wow, you know, and then it just happened to be, and then great, we all came to LA, and then we all shipped off to the ranch later, etc.
So, did you have a brother and a sister? So, did you had some kind of family life, or not at all?
Well, it's perspectives, right? Everybody has a perspective of what a family life is, right?
Yeah.
People don't see their parents all the time, right? That they grew up with, and they still think, like, for Christmas, when people say, "Are you going back home for Christmas?" They still feel that going back to where their parents are, no matter what, is home, right? We didn't have that at the ranch. It was just a ranch full of cadets and, you know, adult children that were acting like adults in the middle of nowhere in a compound, being, you know, being filmed, having cameras and security guards and, you know, all kinds of schedules and appointments and timing and things that you have to be at and meet, or it's obvious that you've run off, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So not only like do people keep an eye on you 24/7, that's what happened as children in the Sea organization and in Scientology, pretty much, because every single property of Scientology has cameras all over it. I can guarantee you that. Let alone, and mainly their Sea organization property as well. So yeah, they are documenting and keeping track of every move, everything you're making physically. And then they have you going in session, or what they call auditing, Scientology auditing. And that in itself is a form of hypnotic programming. So you're constantly in a hypnotic state anyways, because you're following an exact schedule. You're doing these exact things. You're only getting certain amount of meal breaks and certain amount, everything's on a very tight time. Like you're constantly on eggshells. And then when you're on schedule and you're doing it, you feel like you're on top of the world because, you know, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So you don't have time to really step back and think like what is happening, especially as a child. You don't think like what's happening in my surroundings. What am I doing? What is the rest of the world doing? Especially for kids who never even had access to the outside world, like the ranch cadets. Most of us didn't have any access to the outside world. Not even on a regular basis, weekly basis, let alone a yearly basis, did we have any access out to the outside world. Like, I don't know how to describe that, but there's no way for a human mind to really take that in unless you sit and think about that for a minute. For 10 years of my life, for sure, and this is before I even went to the Int Ranch, that if you include me being born from where I was born, which was right in the middle of a Sea organization building, then that is 14 years of my whole growing up childhood being monitored 24/7, being told what I'm allowed to not do, not by my own parents, not living with my parents. Never did I live or have a home where I could go and be like, this is my dad's house, this is my parents' house. Never. That home was the Int Ranch.
Wow. And where is that ranch again?
In Hemet, California. It's near Saboba Casino. If you really want to know physical locations, there's a whole Saboba reservation out there, an Indian reservation out there called Saboba Indians. The Sabobas, I guess they're called this. I guess, yeah, they just say the Saboba Indians. But there's a casino out there called the Saboba Casino. And from that casino, maybe not even a 5-minute drive, maybe not even, but yeah, about a 5-6 minute drive from the casino You go through and then you turn left onto that main road, which is Castillo Canyon Road. That's where, so basically what I'm trying to say is that the gold base, Hemet, the Golden Era Productions, the Int base where all the executives were and still are, and most of them, my mother is still at the gold base fucking almost 38 years. I'm 39, so almost, she's been there for at least 35 years now, doing almost the exact same job that she's been doing, which is hypnotizing people that are inside the cult with her editing and video things and all, and calling it good PR instead of lying. Instead of, no, this is bullshit lies, you're calling it good PR. Oh, this, we're encouraging, we're giving people theta so that they can continue to be positive about clearing the planet of Scientology. Because really, if they knew what was happening, people would give up on Scientology. They would see this does not fucking work. Okay, I'm gonna go on a roll. So keep me in.
No, that's okay. I just want, it's just crossed my mind. What is the difference between, let's say, your mother and you? No, let's start over. Sorry. When did it dawn on you that actually there's something better out there than what you have encountered within the four walls of Scientology?
That doesn't happen. People think that happens, but it doesn't happen. You don't leave. You don't get that until you've already left. You leave thinking you're a piece of shit. You're doing something wrong. Nothing's dawned on you. You're just sick of whatever and you're leaving, and you'll figure it out when you leave. There's not like I'm leaving the Sea Org now. That's why it's like when I go and protest, I'm like, it's okay to leave the Sea Org. Like, just to plant that one thing into people's minds, because it's so not okay to even mention that. In the Sea Org, you're not even allowed to mention to another person that you want to leave. You can only say it to the ethics person. That's it. Or you can be immediately declared an SP. Okay. So getting back to what I was saying, what you were saying is that there was no aha moment. It was, for myself personally, I guess I should just say that for myself, but I'm pretty sure most of the people I've talked to, it's a slow peel of the onion. It's like, oh my God, who am I? Who have I been being told to cover myself up from? So it's like coming out of this like constant abused relationship where you're just kind of punished all the time, and then you feel guilty when you're finally set free. You feel like you're slacking, you're not working enough, you're eating too much sugar, all the things you were never allowed to do. You're like, oh my God, you start to feel guilty for. I don't know what that is, but yeah, that definitely happened. And so there was no aha moment. I would say, seeing the pattern of my life and like everything that had happened, there was a point when I was in Little Red Radio, my first band, that there were other members in the band that were Scientologists or still had Scientology mind thinking, or their parents or family were in it. So I knew it was a weird, there was so much like, oh, our band could have made it big and huge. And then I'm like, dang, that's so interesting how my life isn't about fame and all that. That's not what my life is about. And Scientology tried to program that into me so much. They did it to Emily Armstrong, that, the new singer of Linkin Park. And so they try to program this fame, like, and then you have fucking rapists like Danny Masterson, befriending all these Scientologists, and apparently supposed to be the example of the young Scientologists, right? Oh, everybody wants to be a celebrity in Scientology because they get the utmost, whatevering. I want to call it like the utmost gaslighting, like bullshit, love bombing gaslighting, because it's not fun to be a celebrity in Scientology. But then when you get the award, or you're at that event, or you're in the front row like Elizabeth Moss is at these events, next to John Travolta, that group egotistic like narcissism feeds you up, and you're clapping all of a sudden, really dedicated, brainwashed again to David Miscavige's speech that my mother is putting together.
Oh,
like
really?
the images. She's at Gold Base just like a fucking robot, getting all these fake images from their cine crew that go out and film these fake photo shoots with these fake volunteer ministers. And then she makes them all lined up to David Miscavige's speech and makes sure that when he's live at the event, the video footage is lining up, and she's editing in the back already that event. In fact, when I saw my dad, see, there's so many chapters we can go here. But before I forget, the band Little Red Radio, because there was this, I had members that were also in Scientology and had been in that. The band, we were singing about partying, and we were just making nonsense lyrics because it was our first band. Like, we're putting music together with, our new non-Scientology friend, and like, he's kind of understood us a little and didn't care and wasn't a big deal, right? So we were just making party music and fun music. I was just sitting next to Jason Spallino and the other guy in the band at the time. We weren't even in a band. We were making music before we even thought about the band name or anything. And then when somebody said, hey, you guys should play a gig, we were like, oh, okay. We were kind of nervous and stuff. We didn't even have a band name. But during and doing all this, it felt like I was doing something. Like, for me, it's like you can't think about being famous all the time, especially when you're doing art. Like, when you're doing art, there's a moment when you're doing art that you forget about all that. There's a moment when you're making music that you forget about all that. You forget why you're making it, and that's where it becomes fun. That's where it becomes so healing and meaningful to myself that nobody in the world gets to understand, because it heals something so personally that I was so afraid of, or so afraid to speak or feel. And I was able to say it or feel it through a song, or say it in a way that the whole world, if they didn't know me, I could say it and they would receive it so much better than me and this box that people have put me in, It almost like it wasn't my music. It was almost like I was writing music for somebody else, or I was writing hits for this song could be a big hit for Madonna someday or something. Like, I hadn't even gone that far, but there was the mold of being in the band Little Red Radio and going on tour, our own do-it-yourself tour, and booking our band and doing all that really taught me I could do this if I want to. I could make any type of music I want. I loved my band for that, because they were always like, hey, Lara, sing to this, like, or Megs. They were still calling me Megan back then. They would say, like, sing to this, or they'd write a beat, or we'd write something together, and I would already be writing and singing what I would want on it as they're making it. And I just loved that. I mean, I never appreciated Jason Bradley so much in the band for this, but him and Spallino. And today I'm literally making songs with Jason right before I even went on this interview with you. So that hasn't stopped. I'm making music still with him, but even to this day, I love when people allow somebody to be put in a box of art and gadgets and let them fucking be. Let them create. There's no guidance or control. Just, here you go. What do you think? What do you feel? I don't know. What do you hear? And then as they did that, they allowed me to know that I have something that I can create. There's things that I don't need to try. When people have a talent, they can play guitar, they can prove it and show it. Here in Little Red Radio, I realized I can perform. I'm wild. I can make music. People look at me whether they like it or not. It gave me that, okay, I could almost demand attention if I need to. And I always thought I had to get permission for that. Like, I had to have, and here's where it was different for me. I always felt I had to have something to say that would be interesting, or something to perform, or something sexual that would catch somebody's attention. But it had to be something that would be interesting enough for somebody to look or be interested in talking about it, even if it was bad, right? And then I realized later through the music, oh my God, I can finally write a song like I Love You. In fact, the first one I wrote was You Got Me Now. That was the first song I did by myself with the singer of Flock of Seagulls, who I met through the Little Red Radio band. But so that was the first one where that was an emotionally intense song for me. I would even play it and pull it up if we could, but I don't know if you know how to do that. But that I got to do this sometime, like even just with myself, and just talk about it. It's so amazing. I really appreciate you having me on this because I knew this would happen where I'm able to just sit in like a little seed in my pocket with you, and we just sit here and you let me ramble and you're like, yes, this is what I want. This is what we want to hear, the details of things. And why this is so important for us now. Like there's so many kids that come out of Scientology and the Sea Org that are so full of art and love and so full of like wanting to help and do something big and amazing because we were on this mission our whole life to save the planet. So yes, maybe we're a little ball bunched of people that really are like, want to go do something right for the world and want to see real change. I mean, that would make some sort of sense being raised the way we were. So yeah, I would say through Little Red Radio, I got a little emotional there. Through Little Red Radio, that was my whoa moment where when I had come back from South by Southwest and the tour and we were driving back and I was like, oh my God, that was our last show. Or I guess we had an LA show. We always did something like that where when we came back from the tour, we had the, end of the tour show in LA. When I got back, I had so much fun. And I was bringing everything back to the art share where the whole band, we all had our own little lofts in there. And we were bringing all the equipment back. And I realized in that moment, I had gotten a message or a phone call from my dad. And it was and here people go, oh, your dad, no, he didn't call me on my cell phone. There's no it was a message from the org number. So I'm like, oh, that's my dad calling me. You know what I mean? That is the relationship of, oh, did your family have a home? How was your family? That's our connection is up. There's the Sea Org number. Up. That's my mom. That's my dad. Like I would know which number was calling me. That's Gold Base number. And these are numbers that I just had my whole childhood surrounded by. I literally was as a baby born catty corner or being raised catty corner as a baby, by the Blue Building on the street in just being covered in cots on a fence. In between the outside world and kids just running around. And my whole life is this. So it's just insane. I have to give myself credit when I'm like, I can't believe I catch myself being strong enough to fight through all this with everybody.
You are a strong woman.
But to go to Blue Building, it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting on my body. And then to have to be strong too. And my message, I need to send my message. It's, I'm just it's so much work. And my life has brought so much work and healing from me all the way up to this point, even and just thinking back, it's so much work. So much work getting into a Little Red Radio band. So much work. Our whole band was just so active all the time, trying to do something big for the world, Always so much work. And then here I am, boom, we're at Blue Building today, protesting. And it just, I can't believe I have so much energy and muscle and that I'm just grateful that I'm alive. I think I'm just grateful that this community, all the little people,
we're all here to support you, to support every former Scientologist who've been through, excuse my language, true shit. And that's why, and I apologize to that it makes you cry, because I know that sometimes it must be really take a lot of energy for all of you to constantly repeat your stories. But it is important that you repeat your story.
Yeah.
So, but you are a really strong woman, and I
But I
find
tell you, to say this without crying, the community and the people like Deb and Kay Taylor and Amy, like Sue, everybody, like in the chat right now, everybody, even when I've been like grumpy towards them, you know, Ashley, Scott, all of them, they're just, I just love, I love that people are letting us finally be ourselves. And even if it's uncomfortable for other people, it's kind of weird, you
like you
know,
would
to be
say,
excited
fuck
to watch
them.
people. Yeah, fuck them. But it's like I want people to see a different perspective. Like it's a miracle that the people who are talking about it are where they are and that they are talking about it and that we get up and we face this, you know, like showing up is the most important thing. Because nobody showed up for us. And the people who did were like German reporters from another country, you know, who were nobodies, who have a small, tiny channel, and who were literally in a fucking helicopter flying over the in ranch base trying to catch footage of us being abused. So the little people, that's us, that's all of us. And I really like Scott's thing with the ants because like yeah, not one ant can do it, but like all a bunch of ants, sure, you can't go up a bunch against them, you know. And so yeah, it means a lot. Sorry, I'm totally getting emotional and sidetracked, but that's what happens when I talk about like my life and the past, because it makes me review everything up to like where we are now and how much work and effort and fucking disappointment that we've had to go through over the years and how many losses and realizations and uncomfortable feelings that we've had to have and go through and then still be strong through it all because
Yes.
we don't want to let everybody down that has helped us so much.
Did you do go through therapy?
Yeah. Which one?
Sorry, I'm just asking because
No. I mean, which one? I've done so many and not enough. I can pick me. I'll go today. Yes. Like, and I love it. And every time I do any kind of therapy, whatever it is, I can't wait to start this acupuncture thing. Like I wonder any kind of physical therapy, anything. It just blows my mind. And one thing I reflect is there's so much how do you like neglect in therapy because of Scientology. There's so much neglect in any kind of therapy, even physical therapy, mental therapy, whatever. There's so many therapies you can get for like arthritis in your body. There's therapy for everything. And
oh yeah,
and Scientology just gave you auditing on the cans or the purification rundown or the like, you know what I mean? So it's so crazy in the times that it has been really hard, or I feel like holy fuck, this is going to be a lot. You know, Kendrick Moxon is piece of shit. He's been getting
yeah.
away with this shit for years. You know what I mean? I think about how much amazing things like juice, like real foods in the world, like all the therapies, the talk there,
Alcohol.
alcohol, marijuana, but just how many things, joints. Oh my God, let's spark one up while we're at it.
Thank you.
But how many things have taught me, you know, when you start going, oh, when this pain jumps on, this pain acts up. I see it in my brother. I'll be talking about something like, I need a fucking drink. And I'm like, yeah, me too. You know, like, and it's just interesting that we need a drink to numb how we are feeling in the moment. Alcohol does that perfectly. There's so many fucking things chemicals, therapies that heal and numb that perfectly. Some numb it, some heal it. So yeah, I've definitely done a bunch. There was one therapy where I did, where you have your attention on a memory or something as a child, like any memory, I did it with many. This was just a moment in one of the sessions I did. And something was happening. There was the upset going, and in the whole upset, I was drawing out. I was also drawing, like using colors of how I felt in that moment. Like, and I wouldn't pick it. The therapist would be like, okay, pick a color, as I was like describing whatever I was saying. And I would use that whatever color I felt, even in that moment, like for a second. And I'm like, I really loved my mom and I didn't understand. And she's like, pick what color you're feeling right now. And just things like that. Like, I literally could see my brain understanding by just recognizing how angry I felt and what I don't know how to describe this, but match the color to my anger, match this to the feeling. And it really related a lot, that to my brain related so much for what art does to me. But really attacking that exact emotion or that thing. So I was like, I don't know how to explain this, but it was like probably the first actual win that I had in terms of like, oh my God, this is what they mean about healing. This is what they mean about therapy. It gives you tools to recognize situations outside of what you're feeling in that exact moment. It gives you tools to make life easier in a communication or I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. So yeah, you said, did you do therapy? Why? Were you going to suggest something? Were you going to suggest a therapy that
Oh, I don't look, until the pandemic, I never felt I needed any therapy because I thought I had to work on my.
I also felt that a lot. I felt that when I finally did realize I did need therapy, or I was like, oh, I could use therapy, it's almost like you need therapy. No. If you want to heal this, then therapy is there to help you. Nobody needs fucking therapy because that's stupid. Like, you're not going to get it. That's literally like the opposite of therapy. If you're not trying to heal or see it for yourself or figure it out or say, all right, I'm ready to fucking get socked in the face here, then yeah, that's the beginning, is taking a taste of therapy and seeing how that makes you feel for a bit. But it took me a while to get there because also I was afraid of therapy because it was so it reminded me of auditing. It reminded me of interrogations. It reminded me of the squirreling the tech. Oh, these therapists aren't doing it right. And then half the time I would have to explain to the therapist my background, my history and shit. And a lot of times there would be some therapists that would just get really into the story and all that. And I felt like I was not being heard again. All those things would be triggered. I'm not being heard. I'm just having to explain myself. So that was really hard to just even get into therapy. That's why I say a lot, how about try booking an appointment with the most random person on the fucking internet that says they're a freaking therapist. Do it on like a TikTok, like do it on they online, not on on TikTok. They promote this shit all the time. Go get it. Oh, and if it doesn't work for you, try another thing. Do it first. Like, say I tried that, Lara, it didn't work, and I will give you an award. How about that? I'll send you an award for your first try. But yeah. Go ahead. Tell me, what did you...
Have you ever heard of Rick Allen Ross?
Mm-hmm.
He's a very well-known person who knows a lot about all the different cults existing at present in the world.
Does he have a big beard?
He has written a book as well about...
Does he have a big beard or no? Does he have a big beard and gray white hair or no?
He has great. I think he has glass. I need to check on X on Twitter. I can't remember now because I came across him on. I used to watch a lot of Dr. Phil,
Okay.
and he was a few times on Dr. Phil about different kinds of cults, and he also. I haven't read his book yet, but he seems to think that everyone that leaves a cult, regardless of what kind of cult it is, that you need to do some kind of deprogramming to be able to live in this outside world. I'm calling it the outside world because for many, like in Scientology, they didn't know what was outside because they
And
only
that's
knew what was inside. You know what I mean?
not only that, but they program that into our minds that literally Scientology had their own planet and that Scientology is planet Earth, but it's almost literally like the zombies are, don't go outside the outside world because, and that's how it was. It was like, if you're in the outside world too long, you will get restimulated, you will go out of valence, you will get sidetracked. So once you start to feel that pull, then you get your own ethics in because you're going, oh no, I'm starting to feel that thing that's bad. That if I start to want to do that, that means I'm wanting to go to the outside world.
And sorry, I'm going backwards a little bit, but in all these years that you were on this so-called ranch, what did you children do on this ranch? What I'm sorry if I'm asking you that, and I really don't want you to cry again. I don't like to see you cry,
Then
but
you're not ready to do this interview, Bridget. Is it Brigitte or Brigitte?
Brigitte,
Brigitte?
Brigitte,
So not Brigitte and it's not Bridget. It's Brigitte.
it's Brigitte. But
Brigitte.
I'm Swiss French, so it's Brigitte. If I was
Brigitte.
Swiss German, then it would be Brigitte. I
Mm.
don't like it. It sounds too harsh. And Brigitte, and I don't mind. I've been 26 years in the UK. You can call me Bridget. I don't mind. You can call me Bridge. I don't mind. So,
I like Bridget. Brigitte.
Brigitte. Yeah, because I was named by the French sex symbol Brigitte Bardot.
Ooh.
Obviously, I don't have the same looks.
And your mother was naming you after this sex symbol. Why?
No, it wasn't my mother, it was my dad.
Okay, your father.
My mom wanted to name me Ariane, but then she decided no, because at the same time, the French launched the first of their rockets going to the moon, which was called Ariane. My mother said, my
Oh,
daughter is
wow.
not a rocket.
So it went from rocket to sex to
Sex
a sex
symbol, yeah.
icon. Yeah. Good. Well, there
I'm
you
not
go.
exactly a sex symbol, but
That reminds me, I actually spent quite a few hours researching my name when I realized names had definitions and stuff. I remember one time at the ranch, I was like, well, I must not know who I am. And that's why I have misunderstood word. And then I looked up Lara. Well, I looked up Megan and then I looked up Lara. And I remember in there somewhere it said Lara, an American concert singer. And I was like, that's it.
that's me.
At first, I was like, that's why they named me that.
I have to say that I have 5 first names.
Et voila.
No, because my dad was not Swiss. My dad was from Belgium. And in Belgium, you get your first name is chosen by your parents. And then you have your two grandmothers' names, your godmother's names, and then you have a name that every girl has the same last name.
I remember hearing things like that. I remember like the full name would include the godmother's name or something in case it was like part of the thing that in case anything happened,
So for
the
me,
godparent.
it's Brigitte, Marthe, Beatrice, Adrienne, Ghislaine.
Wow.
So Brigitte is my given name. Then Marthe is my paternal grandmother. Beatrice is my godmother, and Adrienne was my mother's foster mother. And then Ghislaine, this is the name in Belgium every girl gets at the end.
I didn't know that
And the boys
as
get
a standard
Ghislaine.
thing.
Well, at the time it was like that in the 60s. I don't know if they're still doing it or not. I think it's quite nice, but they had to take my last first name away on my passport because it then was not enough space.
Yeah, I was gonna say you almost have every letter of the American alphabet in there.
nearly, yeah. So yeah, um, let's
Hi,
go back
chat.
to your
You're so
story,
sweet.
Laura.
Chat, so kind and loving, and you're so cute. I can
Yeah.
hear your dog or something snoring in the back. It's so
Yeah,
cute. I just want chat to know that's not Scott. Okay.
no, it's Bonnie actually snoring, and she has one eye half open, so I had to look. Yeah, she's sleeping.
It's so cute.
Normally, she snorts much louder.
Oh, like Scott?
She snores like my ex-husband was snoring,
Hmm.
but it's quite quiet.
For some reason, that snore sounds a lot more soothing than a human snore. Like an animal snore, I'm like, I could just probably, like purrs, you can probably just melt and hypnotize into. Chat's
Um,
laughing.
I have to say, Bonnie is the only. Baxter doesn't like coming to bed with us, but Bonnie has since I adopted her. She's always come to bed with me. But the problem is when I fall asleep, she starts to doing her washing. It's cleaning time, and it's like it's very loud,
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, you had all day, but you sleep all day when
Do
I'm not
you
home.
do you have do you have like a portable mic or is it just on your computer?
It's my computer.
Like not a portable like this?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
that would be so
No.
I would beg you to please tell chat no talking, and you put the mic toward if you get a chance on your phone when Bunny is snoring again, nice, and if you could just record that, I swear I'll make a beat out of it if you get a good clean 20 seconds of it.
I will do that.
Just
Yeah, she has.
it's
Okay.
clean, no movements. Don't if you move your shirt or your hand, I'll hear it, but it has to be up and like maybe even just 5 inches away from the face to get a real vibration. We
I
might
will
have
try that.
it might be the next new banger.
Bonnie beat.
I will call it that. If you can do it, I will call it that. Bunny beat. Okay, that's enough. Look at me avoiding my story.
Well, we needed a little break,
Yeah, we did.
because I asked you quite a serious question, and I knew that actually you needed a bit of a break. So
But also I feel that a lot of people, like you said, the question was what kind of work you did. Like to me, I'm okay with like that. There's some things that are more sensitive to me and to people that grew up in Scientology than outside people or people who haven't been in Scientology or raised that way. No, like they don't see that. Oh, she's actually more sensitive about this kind of stuff or that question. You know what I mean? Work, that was an everyday thing. So I mean, I'm like, y'all got time? Do you have a list? I mean, there's so many. We just did every kind of work job there, but it was also under that control, that mental control. schedule and having to get targets done and up stats and down stats, and you're going to ethics, or you don't get the upstat award, or you don't get to go to the swimming pool at the end of the hot Saturday, renovations, in the desert sun workday. So yeah,
But
I'm ready.
What's I can't imagine that there is a ranch where children are being sent. So did you go to school, or
Everything was at the ranch. We didn't move.
why were children sent to the ranch?
Because they
ranch?
did not want them to be a part of what we called the outside world. They did not want us to they wanted us to be separate and a new way and a new, they were literally training us and raising us to be the future soldiers and executives for Scientology and the Sea Org.
So because they knew children are by nature curious, and children would have managed to get somehow to the outside world to find out what's going on out there. That's why they put you away to the ranch.
Right. I mean, I'm sure.
That's how I understand it a little bit.
Kind of, but also that, remember that the gold base was there, right? They just had, I've been learning a lot about this in the Expert Witness, Jesse Prince's book, about how they were setting it up to actually be there for L. Ron Hubbard. The gold base was going to be L. Ron Hubbard's home, and they had his home and everything all set up and ready to go there, and certain things were supposed to be happening. And then, over years in 1986, during all of this, maybe a little bit even before then. Yeah, because I've interviewed some people here on the channel that actually talked about all of that. So what was I saying? Sorry. Brain fart. In ranch.
The gold base was meant to be L. Ron Hubbard's.
That's right. And so something obviously happened and it changed. I know what happened. I've read the book now, and there's so many others I've learned. But the ranch was, it was almost like the kids were a burden. They were almost like, okay, well, if we're going to have, these executives up here and the kids of these executives, we're going to put them off at this ranch, and they're going to learn how to, do mess work and heavy work. And that's going to be the norm for them. That's going to be, they're not going to be connected, as they say, to the outside world, where they're going to get out of valence and have what did they call it? What was the word? Where they're going to get restimulated, so to speak. That's what they said. Restimulated with images from the outside world. Keyed in, where they're going to get keyed into your reactive mind. But so every day, it was like, it also seemed to me as a kid that the gold base was so, kind of so far away. It didn't hit me until I had gone back to do the documentary and stuff that, whoa, that hit me hard when I was at the Ant Ranch reviewing all the rock walls we made. Dang, this is getting me more excited to show the German reporter footage of all the physical, because they fly over the property. So I hate everything that was done at that Int Ranch base was done by children or by RPFers, or by children doing the first part of it and then the RPFers finishing it off, or by RPFers doing the first part of it and the children, the cadets, anybody under the age of 18, we're calling that children, right?
Do you know the title of that German documentary?
I actually just started following them on YouTube, and they've been re-uploading. They're called Germans or something.
German news.
Yeah. And they just
Ah,
started re-uploading the ranch video footage in 4K, which is really cool. So I've been like, just everybody
I
taught, like
gotta
you
check.
bringing up even the songs in my career, but like my whole, just like, you know, my life of how things went about musically, and the videos I've done, and you know, the I Love You, You Got Me Now songs, Oh Darling, like all of these things, Learning and Loving, where I kind of was making bullet points of my life and things that
Yeah.
had happened in the past, and then things that we're doing. But as I was going through them, it's just interesting to see yeah, there you go, German news. It's interesting to see the befores and on the ways and now. And it just feels like, I hate to say it, but everything has sort of happened for a reason. And learning it is the goal, is the trophy. You know, it feels shitty to receive an award you didn't really accomplish. So make sure, that's like always like a tip I give to, from my older self to my younger self. Like, if you're gonna fight for that award and you're gonna get that award, and you know, when you get that trophy, make sure that trophy feels good to receive. Like, really do the work and do the juice that makes it worth the squeeze. You know, do the thing, that show up, do it, see how it feels. Did it work? Is this still your dream? Do you want to do something else? You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I worked very hard all my life, and because that's how I am, not because well, perhaps because I saw my parents each having two jobs, and we never had nothing on the table. We always had everything, but we weren't spoiled. When we were old enough, we had to go and help
But what
cleaning
is
houses.
spoiled, you know? I know what you mean, but
Well,
in
compared
a
to other children, friends of ours,
you
we
could
were not
tell that
spoiled.
but isn't it interesting that, like, even as a child, when if children don't know what money is really. They just go, "Mom, money, this, I need that," whatever, right? They don't understand the bigger picture until you learn what money fucking does and stuff. Um but it's interesting that you could still spoil a child without ever like giving them cash or money. You know what I mean?
Oh no, we
And vice versa. No, and vice versa. And I'm saying, so you feel like you weren't rich, or it's not that you were, well, whatever, but it was meaningful for your parents, and like as a family, that they knew that you, in your heart, you could come somewhere and feel at home, and that meant there is food to nurture you, there is some water if you need it, there is somebody to talk to that cares about you. That to me is like, that to me seems like something that should be mandatory if you're going to have children. Like,
I mean,
and
when
I
we
just
were
can't. Yeah, they made it the responsibility of the children at the Int Ranch and at the cadet orgs, and all over in Clearwater. Even the children that were joining from outside family members that were deep into Scientology, they made it their responsibility when something was going wrong. Their fault. Their okay, and doesn't feel good, does it? Okay, so what are you going to do about it? And as a child, you're going, well, I feel good that they're giving me the responsibility to make something so I could do something about it. But you also feel so fucking hopeless and pathetic and useless because you have no fucking tools and you're being lied to. Let's not forget about that. So there's just so much. Sorry. I know I think we're going into the work. We're talking about the work. And we can
yeah,
talk about it, but I almost want to, like, I might go on like a whole list of, that's it, kind of it breaks it down to like what kind of jobs, like physical work, and then also, well, it'll also depend what kind of group was the child in. Was she in the child group, the cadet org? Was she in the governess group, the out ethics, or in the ECG, ethics corrections group? That's, something else they had in the PAC branch cadet org. So it was always like some of the kids did harder work because they were they needed more gruesome work because they were in ethics trouble. So I almost want to say if there's any job like that a city job would require somebody to do, we did that as children. And probably on a daily basis. It was probably a normal job, like dealing with dishwashing chemicals, bleach, ammonia, scrubbing toilets with, all kinds of shit with no gloves. Pressure wash, spray, taking the fire hoses out, spraying down all the roads and cleaning out all of the trenches and irrigation and unplugging all the drain and rolling up the hose within 1 minute and making sure it's completely flat, sealed back into the fire hose box with the thing done, standing in line at attention. We were literally the mix of a military, the fire department, because here as children, we were literally making what they called fire breaks. One of the most strenuous, like long heating jobs where kids would literally faint because it was so hot outside, and they would have to get their target done or met before they were allowed to get a sip of water, were called fire breaks. And they would have literally a line of kids, like, about 5 feet apart, just about 20 feet up the mountain. And they would just we would be raking and de-weeding and busting and taking out anything fire hazard 20 feet up in 100-degree weather or more sometimes. And they would bring us literally, I'm not kidding. We would have somebody forward march, and we would march from the Int Ranch main building house all the way down the road, out the gate, the main gate, only, at the culvert or whatever. And we would be doing these fire breaks, holding gallons of buckets of water, ice. It was started off as ice, buckets of water of ice. And we would be carrying the water to where we were doing the fire breaks, a mile down the road, in marching formation, in uniform, ready to go to work, carrying our juice, carrying the water and the salt bottle, the bottle of salt, potassium, and the bottle of salt, and the bottle of potassium, the bottom of vitamin C, to literally go work for 2.5 hours, 3 hours before we were then marched all the way back. When those buckets were empty of water, they would sometimes, the ethical cadet would be buddied or paired, and they would have them march or run as they do to the RPFers, the adults that mess up and go on to the rehabilitation project force. We did the same exact thing, running down the road. Security sees us through the camera, opens the gates, we fill up the ice, get the thing, go to the bathroom if we're, we were allowed to, if we needed to go to pee, it would be like, all right, you three go, you're getting the ice, and forward march, go. And it was just constant control 24/7. So yeah, we were covering fire breaks 20 feet up the mountain. Didn't matter where it went. It had to be 20 feet minimum from the roads, which I think is actually a fire code, like they were saying. And again, I don't know if the city is supposed to do something like that, because technically we would think outside the property, off the property would be going outside the gate. But the Int Ranch was the whole land. That's how they were able to keep us away and secluded from, as we say, the outside world, and from news reporters, and from the Indians that were literally the neighbors right there.
Wow.
So yeah, fire breaks, irrigation. We were digging 40 feet wide, 4 by 4 feet deep trenches, 8 feet deep, all the way down, running all the way down the road to put in big, huge water drain pipes that, in case there were flash floods, these big things were able to hold. We'd fix the bridge. There were so many times we fixed the bridge that all the vehicles would come over. The bridge cracked and broke in half one time from a flash flood. We were built, all we did all the time was work for the next project, doing the next thing, doing the fire breaks. Oh, this month we're working on fire breaks. Oh, this month we're doing the drainage for all of the flash floods for, you know, I get even like, I don't know how to calm down my voice and my energy. I'm like getting all hyped up. I don't even know how to calm down because that was like, are you ready? Yes, go. You know, and that's how we had to just do it so we would get shit done. And yeah, so yeah, we were putting the PVC glue into the piping and running all the piping. And if we didn't know, you know what I mean? And that was a fun job to do the PVC and the piping. That was the fun job. We were definitely scrubbing dumpsters and any hard jobs, like scrubbing anything that was really dirty, nasty, disgusting was on us. They would make us scrape them. If they needed it to be gruesome, they would literally have us with a toothbrush. This would be a big punishment, but always bleach. They would literally be like, jug of bleach. Boom, boom, boom. They might give you some adult sized, you know, glovies if there happens to be maggots and shit. If you aren't completely in ethics trouble under 24-hour watch or something. But the thing was, you were supposed to have high confront. So even if you weren't doing it as a punishment, you still had to have high confront. And that if you like, you still had more to work on in your space if you weren't able to confront mess or a few little maggots in a dumpster. We also did all the raking, all the mapping, and all of the whole geography of the ranch. Everything that looks nice and like clean and perfect, which is a lot. There's so many pictures I can show you. But again, even if you guys watch this, I'm gonna just do an episode of that. Actually, I'm gonna cover the German footage, and I'm gonna have my photos of what I have here, and I'll be able to just show all the work. That's what I will do. That's what I will do. I will just physically show you guys, even going to the creek when the creek bed was dried out in the fucking hot heat in the summer, right? Yeah. Going to the creek to collect all the rocks, all the perfect size rocks that they needed for certain rock walls. And then the really big boulders for the big, there were like, okay, big boulders are going in this pile, small ones all here. We did that all of those rock walls built at the Ant Ranch were built by children. Because everybody at the Ant Ranch is underage. They're under the age of 18. And in America, that is a child. When you're under the age of 18, even in Florida, is it 17 or 16? Fine. They were all under the age of 16. So legally, that's what I want to start using that. It's not cadets. It's not this. We were all children. We were all minors.
So,
and that was just heavy work. Like on, you know, we also, Auntie M mentioned, oh my God, I was watching that footage and you can see the fields. These fields are huge. They're like, the fields and I remember being like, oh yeah, we had F field, E field, lower A, lower B, upper F field. We had so many fields, and all these fields had vegetables, all kinds of vegetables. We were growing and responsible for all of the vegetables, you know? So not only are we being controlled 24/7, but like I said, we have statistics and things to maintain. Like statistics we have to have. Otherwise, you're going to be treated not as nice as the casual, regular child that is being abused and forced to do whatever the normal things are that don't seem so bad.
Well, I just, because you're on the...
Oh, sorry, what?
Nanya says, Lara, how were you able to get to the rock area for Over the Rainbow? Was it still on Scientology land?
Nanya, no. The person who did the documentary, they had some connection, and we were actually allotted like 4 hours, I think it was, which was sucky, but I was like, fuck it, I'll take it. And the Indians, the native Indians, and their security, and they had their own, you know, kind of government or whatever on their property. We eventually met them on the property, and they gave us the 4 hours and basically are like, okay, where do you want to go? And I was first like, all right, let's start at the Campbell house, because that's where security would hold everybody and anybody, like children who were under 24-hour watch, anybody who wanted to leave, any child who was attempting to unalive themselves, anything like that, security would be holding them there, literally locked from the outside, not the in, so that they wouldn't do anything like that. And it was weird because it's like an old house. The Campbell house is actually the soup, the Campbell soup.
Oh yeah.
Their family actually, they owned the ranch. They ended up giving it to, I think, a nunnery. They donated it to a nunnery before it became Scientology land. But the Campbell soup owners actually owned the whole property, was owned by them. And that the Campbell house, which is so weird, but it's just like a childhood thing, going to the Campbell house. And the Campbell house was only used, this is so fucked up, but the Campbell house was only used for really special fun occasions, like art projects or Halloween things. When the kids were younger, we were sometimes allowed to have like a haunted house there at the Campbell house, and there was a big grand, like a piano there, so it always felt like ooh. But then on the other, literally in the hall, and all the dorms in the hall of this house and stuff were all security dorms, and there were all like dorms of where people would be locked up or be under 24 hours when people weren't allowed to use the Campbell house at all for art. So the Campbell house, to me, I remember being like staring at this piano and hitting those keys, just being like, when are they going to give me the time to do? I remembered cleaning the Campbell house and being like, why? Like when I was a little bit older, like, why don't we do this anymore? I remembered thinking that, like, why do we have to be so strict? I remember 8 years old, 7 years old, and I was just like cleaning something in the Campbell house. And it was just like, these are the 5 kids that are going, cadets, no kids. These are the 5 cadets that are going to the Campbell house to quickly clean it and come back. You know, it was like a quick project. And it was like, ooh, nobody ever gets to go to the Campbell house unless it's for a fun project, right? Or unless you're under security watch. So I remember organizing and being like, whoa, because there was all these markers and papers and scissors and yarn and art supplies and the piano and all these instruments. And I was like, why don't we ever get to fucking use these? I remember thinking as a kid, this is fucking bullshit. We never get to use this. and we always cussed as kids, because that's what the adults did. And we would replicate that. And we were just told to handle people with anger until they got up tone, until they could do it. And so I remember thinking in my mind, this is such fucking bullshit. Like, I remember organizing how nice we were, making them so nice and organized, and it just wasn't even for us. You know, it just felt like, I don't know. Yeah. Going on a tantrum. But so, yeah, there's so much work all the time. Not only was there like big projects and like big jobs that we did all the time as working and running the whole ranch, keeping the whole irrigation and everything moving, and the freaking all the posts and the whatever fire breaks, all that going. There was normal cadet jobs, the other cadets that weren't in the governance group and all of this, the bad group, the children's group or whatever. They had jobs like the gardening IC or whatever, gardener, over a certain department. So they would still have checklists and jobs and posts that they would have to maintain every day, like maintain the grass, make sure, so that it always looked in good PR. And then whenever something bad looked really bad, they would have the governance group or the children that were in the out ethics group handle that, because that would be the ethics thing. Like, this is not okay. We need to raise your standards. Oh, we'll have them do it. Or they would have literally the RPFers doing it, which was so weird, because as children, you could see some of the like execs, some of the parents of the children there. It's so weird to mix cadet children. I feel guilty because we didn't feel like children. We didn't. But when it came to our parents, like talking about them or thinking about them, we'd say, well, my mom and dad, that was like the only time you could really say it. And it felt really sad as a child to see other children's parents or the children, my dad's friends on the RPF at the Int Ranch. That felt really weird. And can you imagine like nowadays the children, you know, like juveniles, if they were like in a jail with older fucking adults, and like just why there's a reason there's a juvenile and not, you know, for kids other than for regular jail and prisons. Anyways, yeah, I guess someday I'll have to do like a movie so I can really show what my actual vision was as a child, sitting there, and what I was thinking, like, oh, I shouldn't look over there. I see Mark Yeager digging a trench. I shouldn't see the executive in trouble, you know.
Yeah, there is a guy
they
on
owned it.
YouTube. His channel is called Microdots, and he does amazing videos. At the moment, he only does videos about a retrial going on in Massachusetts, but his videos are amazing, and I can't wait for him to make one for me when I do the dwarfism awareness in October. So fingers crossed, by then it's finished. But
I
really,
think you can do it.
you need to go and check his videos. They are so really, really well done. I wish I could do it. I would love to learn this stuff, but yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Says
You
so. The
see,
Campbell family owned this land on the reservation. Yeah. So before the Campbell house, I believe, I could be wrong about whether they gave it to the nunnery first, and then the nunnery gave it back to the when they sold it. Either they sold it directly, or like it was, I guess it's a lease, right? Or whatever they call it when they're just renting a land or whatever for 10 years.
when you say nunnery, you mean like
Like
where
a
nuns,
nunnery, like the nuns. Yeah,
that's
after
a
the Campbell.
church.
Yeah, so the Campbell house, the Campbell
Hmm.
family owned the land, and they either before or after, they either bought it from the nunnery and donated the money to the church, or they gave it to the church, or they sold it back or gave it to the nunnery as a thing. And then the nunneries eventually in time, I guess, sold it back to the Indian or whatever. I don't know. And then Scientology lied and said, oh, we're going to have a private school here. And for, you know, whatever. And they didn't know it was Scientology. They thought it was a private school, like of children having their own private, you know, just schooling there. So they agreed to whatever contract. And that is of how they got the ranch, and all of that is just so insane. That's for another thing, another time.
Do we know, are there still children on this ranch?
No, so they shipped everybody. It was becoming an issue. The kids are getting older, right? So they shipped us all off to eventually join all the sea organizations from the Int Ranch. And like I left in 2000, they shipped us off to Clearwater. And that was my first time as a child. And a lot of the children at the Int Ranch that had ever even left the ranch. Some people had never, ever left the ranch until they left to go join the Sea Org, like being flown out with a group of 6 or 7 other kids in groups that were done being sec checked or interrogated or whatever, off to these properties. And so that's some of these people, some of the kids had been on the Int Ranch property their whole childhood life. Definitely me. I remember a few things in Hollywood, and like I remember images of being in the Wilcox Hotel, but mainly definitely all the rest of what I do remember as a child, whether I was not being a child or not, was definitely all at the Ant Ranch.
You know, just hearing everything you were doing on that ranch, I'm exhausted.
I know. And you thought you could carry through for 2 more hours.
Oh, I can do it all night. I don't care. As long as you want to talk, and if it does you any good as well to talk.
It is
You
good. We can definitely do
go,
great.
girl. But there is something I want to show everyone, because for me personally, it was very impactful, and it shows that you want people to know. Now, that was last week.
Bay
Let
Area
me think.
scooter.
Police commissioner.
Oh, yeah. The police commission meeting?
Oh, wait a second. Yes, Amy. Just a second, Amy. Sorry, Amy asked the question early on. Let's just quickly
Also,
find it.
let
Here
me
it
just
is.
answer. Bay Area scooter couples said when the Native American allotted you access to the ranch, were they aware of the abuses that occurred years prior? Scientology didn't own. You mean the abuses of Scientology? They didn't own Scientology. They already didn't like Scientology being at Gold Base. When they moved into Gold Base and all that, they were kind of like, ah. So they were even more upset. I heard this directly from when I went to the Inn Ranch to do the documentary. I talked to the Indians there, and they were asking me about the Campbell House, and I was like, yep, that was the place they would lock people up, 24-hour watch, da-da-da. And people would run off. I'm totally getting sidetracked, but people would run off. I would do this too. From Camel House, they knew if I get through the Orange Orchard, because the Orange Orchard wasn't owned by the Ant Ranch, and the Orange Orchard was it was like if you get through the Orange Orchard, you could get away. I just remember that. And it was like on the other side of the little canyon. And I was like, okay, you just got to get to the Orange Orchard. Anyway, but yeah, they said that they did not, when they found that, and it made so much sense. Yeah, they said they did not like that it was Scientology on the property, that the cadet school or whatever, the private school. But they said that that also it healed kind of this thing where the Indians were like attacking the Int Ranch and the kids and stuff, because it always felt like there was this like tension, obviously, between the Indians and even the Indian kids and the tribe, and having them intermingle with these kids and Scientology. But like, it's just interesting because as a child perspective, the child doesn't know that they're part of this fucking group that's being manipulated toward this tribe or taking over their land, right? And then they feel so offended and like, oh, F your children and whatever, because you knew what you were doing. And so there's this weird, like, what about the innocence, though, of kids, whether you hate people or not, or you think politically this person, that, or this, a child doesn't know about all that. And that's where the mess up is when adults, right or wrong, when a child is in a situation, that is where the trouble begins. That's where it begins, with all the children speaking out and talking about this.
Yes.
But yeah, so they did not know. They were upset about the Gold Base and that whole thing. There was already a dislike of the natives to Scientology then. And so, yeah, the ranch was just a double that just like really, that wasn't good. I hope that answered your question. Sorry. Okay, now I'll let you. I will stop running the show now.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I just love them so much. I was like, I have to answer
Our
their
lovely
question.
Amy was asking if you were put in a big nursery as an infant with little or no maternal bonding.
100%. Most of the babies born in the Sea Org, as you've heard from older kids that were around saying, oh yeah, I was not okay with my little sister's boogers running down her face, and I knew she was sick, and I was like, where's my mom? Like, where's mom? This is not okay. Even an 8-year-old thinking that. But Babies were so neglected. Amy, I'm sure you know about all the even the reports. Megan Shields, I gotta so much I gotta look into. Megan Shields was literally writing reports. As you guys know, I've talked about her a lot. She was the one who approved she approved my purification rundown like 3 times at Gold Base to do it at Gold Base. Yeah, sure, go ahead with those, niacin, whatever. But she was literally writing, orders and receiving orders, from Elron or whoever the executives, and responding saying, no, these babies are being completely neglected. This is da 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 da. She was sending an infant to the hospital. There's so many reports of this. So we need to break those open. And that's really hard. The thing is, it is hard. It's hard not only for people who have been in it, but it's hard to fucking pick up a thing and you think you're fine and you're reading through this policy letter or whatever, or an order coming down from above, an executive order, and there you see Megan Shields knew about all the neglect, and Dr. Dank and all these people knew, L. Ron Hubbard's doctor knew about the neglect and the child abuse, literally, because people thought their jobs in the Sea Org were so much more important that it justified if a baby got sick and was having a fever. Okay, well, not okay, slap on the wrist, send him to the hospital now. Send him to the emergency now. But do you know what I mean? Just the simple idea of a Scientologist to belittle a body because it's just a body, or have that mind frame of children are just adults in small bodies, or they should be able to they're responsible for their own condition, or they should be able to have that mind frame is so bad. It is so detrimental for future child love, care for themselves, their future strength they have emotionally, intelligently. It just rips away. It takes away all of that, because it makes you go, well, mom and my family, we all decided to be in this family together in the Sea Org to clear the planet. And how disappointing it would be. And so when you get to if I'm such a disappointment, and you finally do get there, okay, I'm going to be a disappointment, I'm going to leave, they're not going to be happy. The deepest place you can really go to kind of make yourself feel a little bit better is, well, if I'm such an SP, I'll be better next lifetime, or I'll find that out next lifetime. Or since my mom thinks I'm such a degraded being, she will say, oh, my daughter's such an SP, maybe we can try as a family next lifetime. It almost says, it's almost like if you could just grow something and it doesn't work, you just grow another one. It's that thing, it's the one thing is not as important anymore because you could just do it next lifetime, which then makes your connection to that thing less and weak because you're not there with it now.
But while the babies are in this nursery, how often do the parents go and see them or cuddle them? Or
there's many stories of how they would have the parent coming in so late at night, or the mom's milk ran out because the mom was on the post too long and they didn't do enough. The barley, the baby was allergic to the barley formula, but nobody told the mom. So then the baby was, and they were trying to give it, whatever L. Ron Hubbard says. It's just like the child is, it's not, there's the importance in care and the legal importance in care. The legal importance in care that is demanded by society on a baby in the world is not there as a baby in Scientology. It wasn't there for us because we were a burden to a degree. to the executive doing a very important job. But maybe we're not so much of a burden if we can make you into soldiers, and then you can later on, then you would be really beneficial. Right. So it's like this mixed thing, right? Of this already predetermined, this is how you should behave. This is how a mother should feel about their daughter, their child. And they also had nannies, quote unquote, nannies that would be babysitting or whatever, supposed to be taking care of the babies while the parent is at work at the Sea Org job. But the Sea Org jobs would go to 16, 17 hours a day. And so parents sometimes didn't even get to see their child for the night because they had to have somebody just come pump. My mom literally told me as a joke, I was like, that's not funny. But she was like, oh yeah, we had so-and-so, you and so-and-so, we both gave birth. It was another Sea Org member child. And she was like, oh yeah, I remember. And they said his parents, his mom. And they said, oh yeah, we were both pregnant together. And then I was like, oh yeah, we have similar birthdays, me and the guy. And then I was like, and then she said, oh yeah, I remember she was pumping that milk on post. And she was like trying to be discreet, pumping the milk at post because she had been on post so long that the nanny needed more milk. But the nannies were working till 9, 10 at night. Like, that shit is so insane. And then while you're there, while knowing, oh, these are the buildings that they were supposed to be renovating for the children of the babies of the Sea Org members. But, oh, who's renovating them? I guess the adults and the babies and the kids. They're going to renovate them. Just like a mother would in her house, I guess. I'll take care of the kids, do everything, and slowly renovate the house. Oh, wait, but it's not yours, and this isn't, you have to be on post. You have to be on a post as well. So, yeah. There's this thing I still struggle with. Like, if I go back and I sit with it, it makes me uncomfortable to be thinking, like how neglectful that is for a mother to think their job or something is so much more important than the life they're giving. Like, and to me, it makes me so, it either goes like, I believe that my mother has I think mothers have such a deep love and fathers have such a deep love for their child that I don't think it's pure evil when I'm thinking how bad it is that I have to go, like, I just have to think like my mom might messed up, but I don't know. There's always some justification because I just feel like that's so upsetting to know that so many babies were treated like this and that our civilization, our society can allow churches and groups and religions to allow this because they think that whatever they're doing spiritually is more important. And I think when you do that, we've already lost ourselves. That's where I'm like, but mom, how did you even get there? Like, and so I definitely go back to that a lot, and that makes me uncomfortable. The emptiness.
I can understand that because I still have my mom. She's 90.
You still have your mom and she's almost 90?
She is 90. She will be 91 this year.
Wow.
Growing up without her love and my dad's love, I was daddy's girl, I have to say, but without their love. So I can't imagine that you guys and there are lots of children that didn't grow up in a cult, that grow up without love, and I can't imagine that. And for me, this is so heartbreaking because I can see it also. My niece and my nephew are so loved by their parents. Sorry, I can't explain what I want to say because it hurts me for you guys because
and you know what the heck is, so I keep watching myself when you say that, when you're like it hurts, I keep thinking of stories of other cadets. I'm not even thinking about myself. So it's like, I can't imagine what they were feeling. Like, I cry. I'm so upset for the other kids too. Like, and I'm so upset that some of them are still in and they're not even to the point to see how disturbing it was that certain mothers, like a mother was literally raped on the way to the in ranch because she wanted to see her son and she missed the one bus that went to the ranch, and she was so upset because she didn't get a pass or something in time on her job at the Gold Base. And so she said, that's it, I'm so determined. She took the creek. She went all the way. She knew if she took the creek all the way up, it would get to the ranch. It would get to the gate, the Gold Base gate. I mean, the in ranch gate. And so she did all that. Oh, and that's where I'm getting to. It's just, it's so upsetting when I see that another mother even, and it wasn't just this person. There were so many other attempts of people like begging an executive to jump in their car to get to the in ranch so they could see their child because they missed. And they said, okay, yeah, no problem or whatever. Right. But it's so crazy that they're doing this just for 2 hours of the child's attention and comfort. But at the same time, it's like, it's so disturbing that Scientology can take the deep love out of a mother and a child to make their mind so reasonable that that is a normal thing, to be begging for attention, to begging to go see your son for a little bit, or to beg to be with or showing up to your child, bawling her eyeballs out, standing at attention, not allowed to talk to you. Like, at what point was that ever okay? Like, when would it be enough? When would it be enough for them to say no? And it never was. It never was enough. And that sadly was what a lot of what the child in us has to confront today, is that it was never enough. They were always going to be okay with being irresponsible and being neglectful because they thought what they were doing was a bigger priority.
That's what they were told, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So it's weird. You want to get out. You want them to get out. You want everybody, the parents. But then you're really going up like, oh my God, I can't believe my daughter turned so bad, turned into a total an SP. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it's insane. That's where I go to I can't believe, I guess with the community, we're so strong because we're literally up against the thing that they're being told to not listen to not have love for anymore. Not buy into your heart. Don't read your feelings. And when you do, go in session and get interrogated so that you can feel better about it. Thank you, Dylan. Blow drill.
I just saw something. Give me a second, Lara.
And we can totally take a break, or we can do interview part 2 if you want. And we can answer anybody's questions or whatever.
We can do that. Yeah. Let's start. These are coming from let's start from the beginning, Bridget. From your chat. So Lara, AZ Crimson gifted 5 memberships.
Thank you, AZ. Hi, Mama. Hi, Bambies. Come.
Come. Nico. No. Oh, and AZ Crimson gifted another one.
My foxy.
It was at the very beginning, but I didn't understand this at all.
Hi, Foxy.
Oh,
hello. Hi, Foxy. Yeah, Foxy. And Bubba's, do you want to?
I only have my cat watches television. My dogs don't watch televisions at all. Oh,
Bubba always wants to be on my lap or doing something, so she's always like, "What are you doing, Mommy? What are you doing, Mama?"
Bria is in her box. She has a box in the kitchen and she loves it.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
You want to stay there, Bubba? Here. There you go.
So Nika says you're probably neighbors with Pete Munzingo. At Eiter.
A
made
YouTuber. He made a post a while back about moving from in front of the Cecile Hotel to inside a Big Blue. Oh, nice. Pete.
You
Okay,
see,
well, send it to me.
I've never been to LA, but I know the story of the Cecil Hotel. I've seen a documentary about it. Cecil Hotel is that the hotel where
I think
this
it's
woman
downtown.
was killed and was found in the water tanks on the roof?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. I think that's downtown.
Is that not near Skid Row? More like
Downtown. Yeah, exactly.
You see, I've never been there.
You are smart, but you have the info.
I love to watch also the police car chases on YouTube. And so one day I was talking with my previous job, I was talking with my colleagues in America, and I was saying, oh yeah, and then they're going on the freeway, so and so, and they were saying, have you been here? And I'm like, no, I'm watching it on the chases.
You're like, I could. I'll have it mentally. You got a GPS in your head now.
Yeah. So, for example, I know don't go to Compton. Gabby's mom gifted 1 membership for you. Here is the question Amy asked at the beginning. I didn't see it. Kay Taylor sent you some money.
Kay.
Amy.
Hey, Kay Taylor, are we going to meet up and have dinner? Kay Taylor, this I feel like needs to happen. And also, weren't we going to go to Wee Spa or get sushi or something like that? I think that was.
I'm gonna tell you something. Let's go back to Amy in a second. Kay Taylor sent you another and then
thank you.
I remember well there was another one I lost. Where is it? I thought I saw something where she said she was coming to LA as soon as her son graduated.
Oh yeah, that's what I remember. Or coming to the graduation or something.
Yeah. Okay, so that I thought it was that's more a comment, but I think this is quite an interesting. We need a testimonial project for all the survivors.
Yeah.
Who has time for that?
And I was gonna say, no, somebody should, and when they do, I hope I would imagine that they would have lots of time and a lot of patience, but also with almost like a lawyer, kind of knowing exactly what they need to present, whatever whatever we would talk about in the testimony, as like where it can actually go somewhere and something can actually be done about it. The thing is such a Scientology thing.
In the US, you would need a lawyer or an attorney that is specialized in human rights and work for you pro bono.
Oh my God, don't even get me started right now. No.
So
do not let me show you this stack of bills.
Well, I mean, when you see, for example, I can't remember her name, but she's George Clooney's wife, and she's over here in the UK. She's a human rights lawyer. And a very good one at it.
Yeah. She's like a model or something too, right?
Oh, she's bloody beautiful.
Bloody. She's beautiful.
She's bloody beautiful. The Journey. I haven't seen The Journey in a while.
Hi, The Journey. I've been watching a bunch of your videos. I think it's The Journey that I'm thinking of.
I don't
Lara, those that were supposed to protect you are a child were Lara, those that were supposed to protect you as a
Those that were
child
supposed to protect you as a child
were
were
your predators. As someone who is your age, I went through that same scenario, but it wasn't in a cult. Exactly. You don't have to be in a cult to relate to the shit that goes on in the outside world, where I'm like, no, that fucking shit is manipulative. We are here and we hear you. Thank you, Journey. Thank you.
Yeah.
Badass babes. All these badass babes in the chat.
And Judy sent you some
Oh, Judy, thank you, sweetheart.
euros.
Don't make me cry on my birthday, Lara. Happy birthday, Judy. Happy birthday, Judy. Happy birthday, Judy. Grasso. Happy birthday to you. I didn't make you cry. I made you smile. I have a thing where if it's somebody's birthday, I just sing a tune to them. I have to in my brain.
I prefer the birthday song from I'm not a very good singer, so I'm
Spanish version.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
to Judy.
To Judy. Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna make you cry. I'll do what I want to because it's your birthday.
Happy birthday, Judy.
And thank you always, Judy, for your support. I see it.
Crocheting Granny.
Crocheting. Is it Crocheting Granny? Yes, I love this one.
This interview is so beautiful. Thank you, Bridget. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Bridget. Thank you for thinking and in reaching out to me.
We can do that every week if you want.
Okay, good. You'll be my side therapy.
And you probably mine. Here. Nanya, did the infants in there get much human holding and comfort? I think Lara already answered that. Not very much.
But no, no. And also, let me remind you, people, that having too much connection, too much attention, too much love was sympathetic, was pathetic. It was like degrading. Like, oh, you're allowing that for your child. Like, like, don't give them sympathy. That's pathetic. You're making them a weaker person. Let them figure it out on their own. So, almost like, okay, that's enough. You know, like too many kisses. Mom, I love you. She'd be like, okay, that's enough. Like it would be too much. You know, it would be that vibe. So, yeah, there was definitely not enough holding and that a girl kind of vibe coming from, and connection and touch and love. And, you know, touching a boob is not okay. You know, that's restimulating. Not okay. You know, like all of that is all like, ooh, don't show the boob. Everything's very, you know, I don't know the word, but like, I was going to say kosher. Everything's very covered and kosher. I don't know, but not, I guess it should be the opposite of kosher. It's very, it's literally like to have connection means you have interest in something deeper than even Scientology, you know, auditing. You should be so connected to your ethics book or your Dianetics book or whatever it is that you're so intrigued, more than like the horniness you would feel for your spouse or whatever. You know, it's an out point. There it is. It's an out point, a bad point. It doesn't look good. It's a red flag if you are giving any person too much attention over your job or your position.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely not enough touch and connection as children and babies. 100%.
Hippie chick. Are the buildings on the ranch mostly empty now?
I don't know. I'm not there.
Well, I can't remember. Someone, I think it was actually Amy, somewhere in a comment said, perhaps we need to get German news to fly over there again.
Oh my
and check it
goodness.
out.
And if Amy, that is so smart. And if they did, please email them and say I'm available to be picked up anytime. Whatever, wherever, send me the plane pickup address. I am there. And that's so smart. I would love to do that. In fact, that I'm going to make a note of that right now. I'm going to make a note of that. And that would be really cool to fly over the property and film me talking about everything.
Yes,
But
that's
so
a good
I do
idea.
know a lot of the structure of the property and everything is definitely still there. They're not going to be ripping down those buildings. The big house, the main building, has been there for years and years and years and years before, during the nursery, the Campbell house, all that. So then you can't just rip down buildings that have been there.
Yeah.
I bet you
the
there's
fam-
codes that they couldn't just change up the motel. They couldn't just change up the buildings on the property. I bet you some of that stuff is actually historical. Like there's a whole meditation path there and everything. Anyways, that would be amazing. Wow. Who came up with that? Of course, Amy M. Amy M, did you come up with that?
I think it was Amy. I have to go back to the chat.
It's okay. It's okay. That's just such a smart idea. German flying over.
I will find it in a minute.
It's
I
okay.
found it now. Kate Taylor sent you another 20. As soon as my son graduates, Lara, I'll be out there.
Oh my God,
You see,
amazing.
I knew I saw it. And Judy to our songs for her birthday. So sweet. Now I have a smile on my face. Thank you.
Good.
And Kajun Juju, I don't know if I pronounced that properly, sent you a super sticker.
Thank you, Keijan Juju. I love you.
Let me see where it was. Was before. I'm not used that my chat is so fast. It was before this one, so.
You think my chat's fast? I have pretty chill, slow chat. But I still can't keep up with them. My brain is too creative and wild. And then one person, and I have amazing, creative, wild people in my chat. So like they'll say one thing and I'm like, oh, I'm going to roll. And somebody will say, and I just literally could be chatting with my chat all day and not creating and actually doing anything.
Oh, I have to quickly show. Hug your mum, Bridget. Thank you very much. I will, but it's a bit far away to hug from here to Switzerland. But as soon as I can go over there, I will, because she has been poorly lately. So, and Rika, lovely Rika, love both these ladies right here. Thank you.
I love you, Rika. Sweet.
We all love
angel,
her.
babe.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Laura, Rika is taking a well-deserved break.
Good.
So I'm really happy to see
Good
her.
for you, Rika. At least you have the ability and the strength to take a well-deserved break.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who feels like they have to continuously.
Well, it kind of is. It's kind of a momentum. It's kind of like, it's not only, it's individual. For me, it's like the more you do it, the more it becomes like, when you go to the gym or whatever it is for other people, it's like when you do something, you show up and you keep putting yourself to do it, even in all different emotions. If you're not feeling good, I feel annoyed, and you keep going, there's something new every time when you go to protest. There's somebody new, there's somebody you're talking to, there's a whole thing. So I think I have found the more that I keep doing it, or the more I just randomly go, oh, I'm going to go do it, and just go and do it, go out and protest, have us even for an hour, even 30 minutes, even just 10 minutes. I'm here. I shut them down. Good. All right. I'm out. The more we do that, the more we realize that it's actually Scientology's tactic over the years and years and years that's putting this fear and exhaustion into us. And it's really, once you do it over and over, you start to realize, oh, it's Scientology's negative energy that you're going to fight and support and get the, support in dismantling it and exposing it. So it does have that effect. It does have a draining effect, but it's super, I feel that the more we do it, the more, once you're out there, you're like, yes, I'm so glad I made it out. It feels very satisfying. And it becomes a little bit easier.
Scott is here as well. Hi, thank you for joining.
Oh, he missed my whole interview. He just got in here.
Just woke up from 4-hour nap. You have a nice life. I slept 2.5 hours last night because body wakes me up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm glad he got his well-deserved nap. I'm sure somebody drained him enough. He needed a nap.
It's like, sugar. What
he was in court this morning, so we need Scott, if we can get an update after our live here on your channel, that would be great.
Yes. Or he could join us and tell us all about it.
Yeah, Scott, want to jump on this awesome stream and tell the world what we're fighting, and then everybody can be updated a bit.
But coming back to what you were saying, I saw Matt's post, MDM Media, and he was saying, I'm sorry, I haven't been to the Blue Building lately. I'm not feeling well. Everyone is entitled to take a break, because personally, when I started with my channel, after 3 or 4 weeks, I had to take a break because it played with my mental health as well.
Yeah.
Because it's so overwhelming, all the different stories you're hearing,
Yeah.
And fair enough.
It's almost like you're walking with like a movie or like a thing that you're some kind of game that you're trying to like hold and put together so that you can figure out all the pieces as you're living your regular day life as well.
It's not reality TV, it's real life.
Yeah.
It's real, badass life.
Yeah.
And I take it quite personally sometimes, and I'm like, okay, now I need a break.
Mm-hmm. And it's good because then we allow ourselves to step back.
And then I don't watch YouTube at all. I just watch other, series on Netflix or whatever.
Murder mystery.
Just to have a break and to change what's up here as well. And then I come back to YouTube and I'm all good again to start from the beginning,
Yeah, we recharge. It's good, I think.
Look what he says. Missed Laura's interview. How dare you?
It's okay. He'll come. He's going to update everybody on the court thing after we're done here.
Oh, well, you're faster than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think at the very beginning, way before we started, someone already put the first comment that was in the chat was, will we get some information about court today? And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. We want that info. Sometimes the info is not exciting, but it is the next thing. So, you know.
Yes.
But we need the updates.
It's important to know what's going on, because we have, especially us that are in Europe, we don't have much trials on television like you have in America. So we don't really, and I mean, in every country you will have corrupt governments, corrupt police officers, etc. But we don't see it as what we see it when, like what we watched all last year, how many times Scott was swatted, and Danny, and everyone else, the ones that were jailed. And it was quite, we followed that like a movie, really, or like a series, from episode to episode. And so you want to understand as well what's happening in court. Obviously, those court hearings are not televised, but we want to hear what's happening. And I did an interview with Dodge actually the day after I interviewed Scott. And I love Scott Dodge because he does it like a real journalist, and he does it in a way that you understand it. I don't understand American laws very well. I hardly know the UK laws, so let alone the American ones. But he explains what happened in court, and in a way that you understand it. Like for me, like a stupid little woman. So we're following that like an episode of a series.
Yeah.
If it's Scott or someone else, and it's not fair that this corrupt system still can play. Like I told you about this retrial in Massachusetts. This is all about a corrupt district attorney office, corrupt police officers, a corrupt state troopers, and it's unbelievable. And we need to know more about these things now. I think everyone in every country in the world, we are way too shielded. We need to know more, and we're entitled to it because we pay bloody taxes.
100%. And I think people are afraid. I'm like, I'm like, yep, taxes. It's part of my pile. I'm like, maybe yeah. Look at me go right into taxes. Wow. I'm like, maybe I'll break even. I wonder if I'll get 100, or am I going to owe 8,000, or is it 800? Anyways,
Yes, Maria, it's the Karen trial. Yeah. Sorry.
We forget that the police work for us in America, right? We forget that we pay the taxes. So that's one thing I'm still getting used to, is that I want to be polite, but also remember, like, every year when I have a job, when I'm literally not just being an artist for 6 months, I have to literally be like, okay, gotta go. Not only we pay our expensive rent in Los Angeles as artists, and spend all of our money on art and having fun and going to see other bands and supporting other people and having animals and just doing everything. Then we pay the taxes. Then we kind of fear the police, and then no, that's not how that works. Like, if I'm a police officer, I want to feel honored as a police officer to be there for people and be like, hey, I got you. If something's not right, it's if there's a crime committed, I want them to feel so safe that if they came to me about any situation. So I don't know. It's just, to me, if it's obvious and it's not right, that's where I'm going to go with. And especially if it's something I've experienced inside of Scientology and stuff, then that's where I'm going to be like, no, this is not okay. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to do what I know. And I know that by doing that, it reflects on people who have been in other situations that go, yes, I agree with her. What she's saying also applies over here with my situation. So yes, I agree with her. Let's all fight for this. That's
Yeah.
my kind of attitude.
I just found another question that was start, which is quite important. Great Gma. I'm sorry if I say it wrong, but question, was it hard to accept your feelings as valid and important?
I still do, yes. Always has. I still do, but now I've learned a lot over the last 4 or 5 years that my feelings are so important for me to be able to live the life and feel the feelings I feel deeply. My feelings are important to be shared and heard if I'm going to have people in my life so that they can reflect and I can reflect on how to balance and live and breathe and be in a space where everybody also has these feelings about their own selves, you know? And I don't see that, like, you know, there's no like, oh, here's the, you know, office on the corner where you can learn and give these tools to people and show them how to do that and how to feel that. There's no like, you kind of just get it through people who have been through shitty experiences and they've come through it and they learn from it. So, or people struggling with it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. It is hard to accept feelings for things because some of them are confusing. Like when I feel angry a little bit towards my mom or my dad, or I feel resentful, I also in the same time feel sad that they must have not gotten the deep like awareness or knowledge of knowing that the way that we were treated and raised was not acceptable. It's not humane and normal. And I'm sad that they didn't have the ability or awareness to change that for us as
Yeah.
children. But is it uncomfortable me like yelling and telling my dad to listen to me, dad, not, and seeing him not look at me and things? Yeah, it fucking is super uncomfortable. But even as a performer, as an artist, I always try to be who I am on stage and feel what I feel, and like to not do that in real life, you know, in whether people are live streaming it or it feels like an episode or whatever, to not do it in real life to me just seems like a waste of life. It seems like, well, you know, I was already in a cult, trapped and controlled for my whole life. So why would I come out to the outside world and not fully enjoy and be transparent and enjoy who I am and learn who I am? Because a lot of people don't realize, like, when they get out of cult thinking and behaviors, or even start to get out of it, they start to fear and get weaker, it feels, because they're letting go of the walls they're so comfortable leaning on. And they're starting to figure out who they are without the thing or group telling them who they were or acting how they were because the group did it. Even just simple attitudes and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. Sorry, I'm going on a roll now.
It's okay. Kirby's mom says, there's only one you, Lara.
Thank you.
It just crossed my mind because I should have asked before, but you said at the very beginning you have a brother and a sister. Are they still in Scientology or have they left also?
Mentally, a zillion %. Anybody who is still so upset or arguing or mad at my mom and dad or their parents and stuff like that, but aren't out of that, you know, coming out of it and learning the world that they could have and create, then there's, I mean this in the most loving and respectful way, you're still in the mindset and the control of a Scientologist. So that's so cute. But so you're still in that pole. Like you it's almost like a magnet. It's like a cancer, you know? I don't know how to describe it other than something so dangerous, but slowly coming in on you without you realizing it. And so you're like, no matter who alerts you, if you keep doing whatever you're doing, then it just keeps coming. So it's like, no matter how many times I want my brother to get out of that and to figure, to step, he won't, because he fights it and resents it so hard and then stays in the position he's in. My sister 100% is still in. She left the Sea organization. Last I knew is her and her husband, who got married, who were my friends in the Sea Org, who I knew in Clearwater in the Sea Org. She married Andre. The last I knew, I was shocked, but they had left the Sea Org, which was a shock to me, because I thought they would never leave, because my sister said she would never have children. And she made this remark one time when I was married the only time I was married, to my ex, when I was 20, 19, whatever. I always thought, I want to definitely have children, but just definitely not right now, because I'm so young and wild, and I'll have, here I am. No, maybe I won't have children. But I do remember that feeling of like, my sister being so disgusted by the idea of having children. She was like, ew, gross. Like, she did something where she was like, ew, I'm not gonna have something growing, and like, she was so, and I was like, I've never heard that reaction from somebody. And immediately I was like, oh, that's Sea Org, that's Scientology in my mind. I was just like, and I was like, oh, wow, that is Scientology, because only a Scientologist would be so grossed out about talking about masturbating or the vagina or how the body works that has anything to do with children or having a baby. So it's just, I think the not understanding of something makes people attack it instead of just facing the facts of what they're resenting. Like, what are you resenting so much? What are you getting so angry about? But anyways, going on a roll again. So yeah, my sister's definitely still in it. So she left the Sea Org maybe 5 years ago, from what I remember, or maybe 6 years ago ish. Maybe a little less. And she was, living in Clearwater or whatever, Tampa, somewhere right by in the Clearwater area. Yeah. And so she's definitely in it. And her last thing to me, we were talking about cats. Bubba, do you want to see your cat friend? Oh my God, is that Bunny?
Bria.
Oh, Bunny's the doggy.
Yeah, that's Bria.
Like Bria cheese. Oh my God. What does Bria mean?
Well, Bonnie in Scotland means beautiful. And Bria is beautiful in Irish.
That's cute. I knew it. She's literally, is it a boy?
It's a girl.
Girl, I was going to say, she's so beautiful. Like, literally. And does she shed a lot?
Oh, at the moment,
I knew it.
At the moment, it's like, but she's like silk. She's really, but at the moment, that's why I'm constantly like that.
Yeah, I knew it. I was like, so Foxy, she's very soft. She's so sweet and soft, but it's like, when she has these, I call them chapters, because they're only like 3 chapters a year, maybe even 2. She doesn't shed often, but when she does for like 2 months, it's like blankets of fur everywhere.
Baxter is a Pomeranian, but a big one, a big Pomeranian, not a tiny little Chihuahua, and he's shedding at the same time as she's shedding. So it's even flying in the air. There are days where it drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I went with the Hoover in the air like that. It doesn't work. So at the moment it's spring, so obviously they're shedding winter fur. That's why.
Your kitty.
I don't know.
My kitty, Bubba. I can't turn my computer, but maybe I could take a quick picture and show you. Let me show you really quick, but also maybe we should stay focused, because clearly I suck at that, and just take a picture because it's way too cute. This is Bubba's sitting under the lamp staring at me every once in a while, which is very annoying but very cute at the same time. Can you see?
Oh,
She's
so,
literally
yeah.
right there. And then she's just sitting. Oops. What's up, Nora? She's just sitting there with her little under the lamp. You see?
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely.
Isn't that cute? My little Bubbas.
You know that I do call Baxter Baba as well.
Oh, yeah.
I actually call him Baxter when I'm angry because he's the only male in the household and he can be very naughty.
Rose petal. We call it blowing coat here. Spring shed. Yep, exactly. Oh, so cute.
Oh yeah, I thought I saw that as well. Blowing coat here. Okay.
Okay, so what are we at? 4:30, guys. Interview with Lara.
I would love to do that again.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
I mean, for us in Europe, here in the UK, it's midnight. The ones in Europe are even an hour ahead of us, so it's 1:30. So perhaps if we can do it again, but would love to talk to you separately. But I would like, before we say goodbye, I want to, for the ones who haven't seen it, because this is how I see you. And I'm not going to say more. I'm going to just show it. Let's see if I don't do that very often. So even though I'm an IT specialist, sometimes I feel like I've never worked with a computer before.
That's interesting. You're an IT specialist, but I feel like, is it all you can tell somebody what to do on the phone, but physically it's just a little more difficult, or the opposite, or neither?
I'm visual. So
Yeah,
when it comes to
me too.
IT problems, well, I'm not Microsoft certified. I worked. I always worked with companies where they created their own software, specialized software. So, for example, for Shell Aviation, it was the fueling of airplanes and the billing of it. So that's specialized. It's not something you buy in the store. The last job, it was case management system for legal companies. So, it's all specialized. So when people have problems, you do that online and you can see what their problems are. And you can then go on their computers and actually start investigating what the problem is. So, okay, let's see. I just want to show this to everyone. Wait a second.
I hate watching myself.
My name is Lara Anderson. I have a little PTSD. Always talking about the subject of the cult of Scientology. I specifically looked a few of your guys' names up. I've seen you, Rasha. You were here. I actually still have your thing up. Rasha, you were a former federal prosecutor with more than 20 years of first chair trial and appellate experience. The cult of Scientology, one of the things we did when I was about 8 years old, I was clapping extremely intensely with a bunch of other children in the cult to the leader saying the war is over. And that was because they had bullied, you can call it bullied, but they infiltrated the IRS and they used people like my Social Securities, members of the cult that had no idea their name and their information was being used to infiltrate the IRS, infiltrate by individually putting each person, myself, their name as a lawsuit. That took too much money, took too much time. The IRS couldn't fucking deal with Scientology doing this anymore. They made a deal. They gave the cult tax-free exempt status. That doesn't make them a religion. They're not a church. I was born and raised in this. I was doing, Jim, I was the auditor as a 13-year-old ethics MAA, auditing public outside members that were Scientologists that are part of the LAP, part of Clearwater PD, part of the authority that allows people and Scientology to continue doing what they're doing. We're not allowed to report crimes to the outside. That is policy. If they do, we get in trouble. We go to jail. There's their own justice system in Scientology. It's hard for you guys to see that because they used the government structure to look like Scientology is just like you, but not. They used it so they could infiltrate. I did this. We did this as children, not knowing what the fucking outside world was. We didn't know that we had people we could go to. Okay? We were molested. We were raped. We were used fucking every day, 15, 14, 15-hour days, slaving away. Our whole childhood, we signed billion-year contracts. We children were shredding documents from Lisa McPherson case. Kendrick Moxon is putting all the protesters against Scientology in jail right now because they choose to protect people like me. I'm a rock star, I have a voice now, so if it's shaky, I'm sorry, but this is PTSD. We need your help. Break your ties financially with Scientology. Break them. Stop receiving any more checks. Stop receiving checks from the city.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Do you hear me?
Ma'am, your time is
Did
up.
you hear me?
Did you hear her?
Speaker.
Did you hear her?
Answer that.
Did you hear her?
Sir.
Did you?
That was so amazing. And you know what is more impactful from everything you said is the end. Did you hear me? And sorry, I don't know what to say. I thought it was one of the best speeches I've heard in a while. You are amazing, Lara.
And I felt so like I messed up. Like I didn't say it right. I didn't.
No,
No, I'm
You
just
did
saying
it.
when I came out of there, when I said, "Did you hear me?" I was like, was I not clear enough? Like like I was just really like upset and really I was shaking and yeah. But now that I just heard it from a different perspective now, I feel like actually it wasn't as bad as I had criticized myself for.
The problem is 3 minutes. When you look
Yeah.
at the number 3 minutes, you say, bloody hell, what am I going to say in those 3 minutes? It's a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But when you in it, 3 minutes is nothing.
It's
You
yeah.
can't say everything in 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying you should go every week, but once in a while you should go back so that they don't forget your face, Lara.
Yeah. I agree.
I think that is important. And I wish that more former Scientologists go together. Doesn't matter if you have beef, but former Scientologists should stick together and go together to these meetings. But then, you know, I can wish for a lot of things in this world. Not everything works like that. But like I said early on, it must be sometimes hard for you to constantly repeat yourself about what's going on. But
Yeah,
don't stop going.
It re-traumatizes it, re-triggers.
Exactly.
And lots of times we can manage it, but then there's sometimes we just lose it.
Yes, I admire you a lot. And I'm probably not the only one.
Maybe.
Look at the chat.
Yeah, I
Everyone
know.
admires you and loves you.
And same me for them. Same for you guys all.
And
I
we are
see
all
you.
here for you. And you see, that is what I want the former Scientologists in Europe to understand. We are in 2025. Now it's not the time anymore to be scared. There's a huge community standing behind you and helping you and making sure that no one, especially Scientology, will not hurt you.
I
And
appreciate
they
it.
have to come out and tell their stories so that we
And
can
I'm
go.
here for there's so many. I can't wait to speak with Bianca. There's so many, and I did get to speak with Miriam and SP Chef. So I'm super here. If there's somebody listening right now and you're like, I want to have an interview with Lara, and you were inside of it in some way, like email me, message me. I'm
Yes.
totally down. Just like Bridget, she emailed me and I was like, yeah, of course, I saw your interview. I just love people that have hearts and want to really talk about they want to spend an hour or two and just get into it for a minute, and I appreciate that so much. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to bring other people, even people that I knew in the Sea Org from that are in Europe now, like all over, not even just, there's some people that I know in Costa Rica, there's people in Germany and all sorts of places. So that would be fun actually to do more of these long, just to actually spread the stories, like you've said, to other people all over the planet, all over the world. But also, but so that people are really warned by how not only what's going on and that we're trying to get the kids out and stop children from going into Scientology anymore, and hopefully dissolve it from America, especially America, because it's like I say, it's like the opposite. When people are trying to heal and create a better world, cults like Scientology that hide behind religion, that hide behind people's actual spiritual beliefs and things that they're like, I have a beautiful system, my church, this, or my belief, my religion is this. And then here you have a fucking organization, a group, a disgusting mafia group called Scientology hiding behind that status, how it belittles like somebody coming out of a cult this deep, how it's going to be so hard for them to even understand what the sense of God or Jesus or like any sort of higher spiritual freedom is about, because it's been so desensitized and changed. And it's so bad that when victims, or whatever you want to call them, survivors of the cults or cults like this, Scientology, come out, they tend to fight. They're tending to, like, instead of being able to not finally come out and tell their stories and get everything out, but they're up against also now people like being like, oh, don't relate Scientology to my religion, and everybody in the whole world, to me, seems like everybody believes in something. And so it almost feels like somebody trying to get out of Scientology might accidentally offend everybody's religion almost, because they also have something that's similar that Scientology does in their own religion, So it feels like most of the time, a lot of survivors feel like they're up against the legal system. They're up against people's beliefs. They're up against, and then they're still trying to be themselves and live a good life and the political system. Let's not forget about that. Oh no, America. I don't know how fucking Nora does it, but the political stuff too. So there's just so much. And anyways, going on a roll again, but that's what I do. Rock and roll.
Here, Haggis Basher, it is time to name the names of the abusers and hold them to account. Yeah.
So wait, can we hold? I love you, Haggis. Can we hold on to that? I want to, and I don't want to go deep. I just want to mention and just make people aware that the abusers are also the predators, that are also the victims. So Scientology has now made I can't even call them pedophiles yet, because there's it's so fucked up when somebody has been trained or groomed in a way to thinking that what they were doing was not being a pedophile or was not molesting or, sexually assaulting somebody. Because I feel like their parents or somebody who, when their parents were absent, was teaching them that this was normal. So it's really, I do want to, and never am I, people know me, but what I'm saying is we got to be very clear about our feelings, and we got to be very clear about what is hurting us, and we do need to name names. That's my biggest thing. It's not just name names. It's the adults at the Int Ranch. If you were an adult at the Int Ranch, you knew that normalizing spankings, or you knew that if so-and-so was superior to you and they told you, and even your own son, because there were adults that had kids at the fucking ranch, where they would say, go into the auditing room, lock the door, and leave them in there, and they would do it. So some of these kids some of the people that were the adults that were abusing and spanking the kids were also children of adults at the time that were in the Sea Org at Gold Base. And then when they became over the age of 18, where they're legally no longer an adult, they were still acting at the maturity level of somebody who had literally been nowhere around anybody that was their age doing the things that they were doing. So there's such a mix up of how do we open this onion and name the names without also allowing them to change and open up and say, yes, when I was 15 or 16, they demanded that I did this. And that made me think this was normal. And until I had my own children, I didn't realize how bad it is. And that's why it's so hard for me to come up on Lara's stream and confront it and talk about it. I get it. And so I want to be more encouraging for people to grow and change and come out and talk about shit. Especially if your parents groomed you, or the adults that were supposed to be parenting you or teaching you that certain things were not okay and this is okay, and why it was not okay, and how it can hurt and ruin somebody's life by doing certain things and not doing certain things. I think that also needs to be able to come out when people talk about it. They need to be able to say, this is where I thought that this was fucking acceptable. And this is where this cult allows and protects this behavior. This is where auditing allows somebody to get away with being a rapist. This is allowing somebody to get away with being a fraud. This is allowing somebody to manipulate their kids into doing something they never, ever, ever wanted to do. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Okay, you can remove it. Thanks, Haggis. Thanks for letting me go on a fucking roll with your little comment there.
I think if you don't mind, we're gonna close on this word.
I love it. It's 444. Boom. Good numbers here in America at the moment.
And I will contact you again for sure.
Thank you, chat. Love you all. Happy birthday to all the April babies. And
I'm a March baby.
Happy birthday to the March babies, including my mother. And a bunch of my friends and mothers all are in March. But love to you all. And Bridget, thank you so much. And let me know when we can do it again. We'll talk about
I would love to. Yes.
Whenever.
We have to think about something different. We need to figure out something that no one has done before.
Oh, well, I'll leave that up to you. But until then, I'm going to encourage more people in Europe and from other countries to come on and talk with me on YouTube, because I do agree we need to get more of the people in other countries to get up and feel safe and comfortable about talking what they want to talk about in an open platform, so more people can see intimately how they felt, what they went through, their lives, their shitty fucking manipulative behaviors, and how like certain things were made to look so small and not a big deal when they were really later on like, oh my God, this is how they allowed all this to happen. And it was a big deal, and it was emotional, and it was hard, and it still sits on us today. So that's how we
Yeah,
get rid of
and
all this.
I like to target mainly at the moment French-speaking countries in Europe, because they are former Scientologists. I did interview
And
Ludovic.
am I wrong? But isn't yeah, there's also somebody I want to interview. But isn't Scientology banned in France?
They're not banned. They are classed as a cult, like they are also in Switzerland.
So what does that mean
But they still,
exactly?
as you could see at the Olympics in
They can
Paris
still
last
be
year,
there, right?
the lady who gave whatever medal she gave to Tom Cruise, she has relations to Scientology. But I don't know all the stories behind
Okay.
it. I'm finding out a little bit and a little bit. But yeah, France, Switzerland, they're classed as a cult. I can't remember Germany. I think Germany, they're called as well.
Mm-hmm. Banned in Germany. I'm
Belgium, they
always like,
still
yeah.
see them as a religion, unfortunately. But yeah.
All right. Love to you all. Love to you. Thank you. See you soon. See you chat soon.
Thank you
Good
so
night,
much.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Et voilà.
Et voila.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your morning, your day, your afternoon, your evening, your night. Fluffer, thank you very much. Irish, thank you very much for being here and looking after the chat, and also Jojo. I very much appreciate you. It was a bit longer than we anticipated, but I wish you all a good rest, especially you, Fluffer. Bye bye. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.